who has status in the United Nations today because she is an advisor to the United Nations Development Program in matters relating to development, and who is an activist. And so, Ambassador Silovic, I have told the truth about you, but please don't let it get to your head, because we know that behind you is the real power, which is your charming wife. You have the floor, sir.
This is going to be very difficult. I'm not that eloquent as Ambassador Kamal is, but he is right. There is a problem here because my wife is here, so I have to be very careful what I say. Otherwise, I'd get it. I'm supposed to speak about Yugoslavia yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and we have heard a lot already. I don't have a lot of time. I have to be brief, so I will have to simplify things and jump through it. But I think I have to begin by saying that Yugoslavia was not created by Tito, who gave it an international reputation, name, standing, and so on. Yugoslavia was created after the First World War, after the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and it actually was formed from two main parts of it. One was, which used to be the Austro-Hungarian Empire, parts of it, which is Slovenia and Croatia, and the other part was the Ottoman Empire, with the exception of Bosnia, which is there in the middle, which was part of the Ottoman Empire, but which then, towards the end of the 19th century, became annexed to the Austro-Hungarian Empire with its withdrawal. So there are 2 or 3 parts of it. That Yugoslavia, the first Yugoslavia, when it was created in 1918, was a kingdom. Serbia was already an independent country, not for a long time, and it was a kingdom. And the Southern Slavs, because Yugoslavia means Southern Slavs, and all these people that are mentioned there, with the exception of the Albanians, which in Kosovo are part of it, and the quite an important Hungarian minority in the north, they are all Slavs. So Yugoslavia is the name for that country, which depicts its population, but it united under the Serbian kingdom, and it was understood and then taken as by the dominant parties and rulers of Serbia, that actually it was an enlargement of Serbia, and they behaved so. It was an authoritarian, dictatorial regime which lasted until the Second World War. The government of Serbia, the regent, the king, had been killed already before that, a few years ago, by some Croatian and Macedonian opponents to the kingdom. The regent then signed a treaty with the fascist Axis, which provoked a revolt, a mass revolt in Belgrade, a coup d'etat. A few days after that, Hitler invaded Yugoslavia in order to establish all the connections that he had lost, particularly towards Greece. And Yugoslavia collapsed in 10 days, 11 days, I think it took for the Germans to occupy. The Italians attacked from the other side. The Hungarian and Bulgarian countries, who were also allies of Nazi's system in Europe, then took each part of it. and of Croatian nationalists who were in exile and trained mainly by the Italians in the 30s. This regime started immediately slaughter of Serbs. It was worse than what Kamal described what happened later in Bosnia. They also eliminated the Jews, the Gypsies, of course, but the main aim was to get rid of the Serbs. Because there was a quite important minority, Serbian minority, in Croatia. In the wake of this situation, a popular revolution started, a movement against the occupation and against these local traitors who cooperated with the occupiers in Serbia also, in Slovenia also. But the worst regime that the fascists imposed was the one in Croatia. This is the famous Ustaše. Ustaši, I think it's the pronunciation here. So the Communist Party actually realized that the situation was ripe to start a national liberation movement, and they called for an uprising. And it gradually, particularly because of these terribly oppressive regimes, people were fighting to survive at the beginning, and then they started organizing and resisting in all parts of Yugoslavia, in Serbia also, in Croatia, mainly Bosnia. Bosnia was the nucleus of the national liberation struggle throughout the 4 years. It ended up with the collapse of the Axis, of the defeat of the Germans and the Italians and their other allies, and with the liberation of Yugoslavia, which brought Tito as a leader of this liberation movement, naturally as a head of the country. What changed in Yugoslavia, briefly to say, was that a federal state was established. It was a multi-ethnic country before, but most of the nations were not even recognized, and even those that were recognized was not equal. So in the second Yugoslavia, after 45, there was a federal multinational state which gave full recognition to Slovenians, to Croats, to Serbs, to Macedonians, which were not recognized before at all, to Montenegrians, which were also subdued in those days. And Bosnia in the middle was established as one of the 6 federal republics, because Bosnia consists of 3 big ethnic groups. One is the Muslims, then there are the Serbs, and then the Croats. Where are the Muslims? The Muslims are the result of several centuries of Ottoman rule, when people converted to Islam. We all speak the same language. Macedonian have a little different language, Slavic also, Slovenian also, but the Serbs in Serbia, in Croatia, in Bosnia, and in Montenegro, we speak the same language. Today it is called different names, but we understand each other perfectly. I usually say that the differences are smaller than between English and American, and I'm convinced of that. There is absolutely no problem. My wife and me, we don't need an interpreter. I go to Belgrade, yes, we notice where is from where. But if one can adjust and cheat a little, it's, you know. So there was an equality of all the population in the country, and that was a great relief, and that was a great advantage, and that created a massive